Bold but simple is the best way I can describe Juicy Realm, a top-down shooter roguelike that released on May 3rd, 2018 on the PC, with it coming to the Switch and the PS4 at a later time. It cost $9.99, and I played it for about 6 hours, beating one run before coming to my ultimate conclusion, which is simple. It's a solid, well-put-together piece of eye candy that relies on simple reaction and straightforward gameplay to get your kicks. Is it another Enter the Gungeon? No, it doesn't have the lasting power with variety of enemies and more unique mechanics. However, is it worth the price of a mission? Hell yes. The bright colors and smart enemy design gives the game a life of its own. It's pleasing to see each new enemy and watch them wander about as they try to throw all the bullets at you. It's the small touches here that really add to the game's presentation as well, like the shaking of a pistol after reloading it. Granted, some of these items don't really make a whole lot of sense in the big picture, like the glasses falling off this guy's face, or whatever the hair buns for the boxer is supposed to be. Regardless, the great environment design and simple but addictive music makes Juicy Realm a game that you won't want to look away from or to stop listening to. But top-down shooting roguelikes are all about the gameplay, and Juicy Realm makes a good first impression. You've got 2 weapons to switch between here, and there's a good collection of different types of weapons here. From keyboards that fire GG at the opponent in a large straightforward pattern, or a Steam sales weapon that throws discounts all over the place. Granted, some of the weapons are a lot more useful in certain situations, but weapons like an AK are useful in all of them, so they're hard to ignore when they drop. Controls for both the keyboard and the mouse work here, although with the focus on more aiming and less about dodging, I'd recommend the keyboard control set. Hitting enemies on the first shots make a big difference here, despite speed being enough to work your way out of trouble, mostly due to the claustrophobic design of many of these maps. In fact, sometimes you get a configuration that really screws you over if you have the wrong weapon. Things are so close in, you really can't get a good shot on some enemies. Enemy variety does a good job of focusing different strategies out of you, with watermelons that come at you like kamikaze pilots, or oranges that divide into multiple enemies after you get through the original one. On top of that, it's nice to see a difficulty setting in the game that seems to produce more enemies and balance things rather well at harder difficulties. In fact, this is a perfect entry vector into the top-down roguelike genre in my opinion. Its colorful presentation plus difficulty options allow for new players not to get overwhelmed, and keep things simple so they can focus on the core of the genre. On the other hand, once they get past that, they can up the difficulty, and lo and behold, they are a roguelite master. Okay, maybe not a master, but you get what I'm saying. Don't let the health bar confuse you here either. You can take 1 damage at times, but you could also take 10 to 15. The game will seem easy at first, even harder difficulties, and then you'll be dead when you get overconfident, walk into a situation, and be blown apart. The biggest drawback that works against the game is simple: the lack of variety and its length. Sure, you've got the weapons that do a good job of changing things up, but with only single bosses that you face at specific sections of the game, and the straightforwardness of the early fighting, it'll start to wear on you quickly after you've done your 15th, 16th, 18th run. It doesn't help that the game surprisingly is short for one run through the game, coming in under 30 minutes in my first completed attempt. Some more objective-based gameplay with more variety, like the badges that you have here, or something other than shooting, would have helped the game in the long run. Now granted, this came up more towards the 6-hour mark than the early going, and for the game's price tag, you're definitely going to get your money's worth. With 6 hours under my belt, I give the game an 82 out of 100 with these enhancers, making the game a solid buy unless you're hurting for cash. Anyway, this is Dragnix signing out for now, and as always, keep on gaming.